I'm here in New York with the Nobel Laureate, who's now the interim leader of Bangladesh. Muhammad Yunus has won international acclaim as a pioneer of the strategy of granting very small loans to very low income people as a way to fight poverty. But that platform was one of the things that put him at odds with the longtime leader of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, who launched what Yunus considered a campaign of harassment against him. After massive protests against her government broke out, Sheikh Hasina fled to India last month, and Yunus became chief advisor of the interim Bangladesh government. And now he has been tasked with helping to chart his country's future as it prepares for new elections. He is in New York for the United Nations high-level meetings, and he was nice enough to make time for us, and he's with us now. Mr. Yunus, it is so nice to speak with you again.
Well, I'm delighted to be with you.
And I say again because when we talked this past summer, you were on trial on corruption charges, and now here you are representing Bangladesh on the world stage. That is some turn of events. Are you surprised to find yourself in this position?
Very strange turn of events. I was even before I was sworn in as a chief advisor, I was in Paris trying to see if I go back, I'll be arrested because she will be angry at me and put me in jail. So I was thinking of delaying my return. And suddenly I got a phone call from Bangladesh that now she has left. We want you to be the head of the government. That was a big surprise.
What went through your mind when you got that phone call?
Whether I should get involved in running the country at all, because that's something I'm not involved with, and I didn't want to get involved. It's a very difficult political situation. But when students called me up and explained what their situation is, finally I said yes. I said, you have given lives for this. If you can give lives, I can remove all my other consideration. I can be of your service. I'll do that.
And when you say you've given life, you are not exaggerating, and it was not a metaphor. In fact,
No, it's not a
people
metaphor.
died.
People died.
In the course of those
Hundreds of them
demonstrations.
died. Nearly 1,000 young people died, stood in front of the gun to take bullets. And literally, young people came and sacrificed themselves. When they are coming out of their homes to join the demonstrations, they are saying goodbye to their parents, they are saying goodbye to their siblings. I may not come back. That's the spirit in which the whole thing happened. And finally, it was so unbelievable, it's impossible. And then the Prime Minister decided to leave the country because a whole mob is coming towards her home.
So, Mr. Yunus, on the one hand, these demonstrations led to the departure of this wildly unpopular and, by some accounts, corrupt leader. But in those chaotic first days, there were attacks against Ahmadis and Hindus. Some of it was related to their loyalty to Sheikh Hasina's party. Some of it seemed to be just simply attacks against minorities. Those have subsided, but then since there have been more attacks, this time on Sufi mosques. And according to our reporting, there has been more than 20 vigilante killings, murders by mobs of people since she was ousted. Why is this happening?
People are in a mood for revolution, so this is a revolutionary situation. They were killed, so they were looking for people who made them, their colleagues, to die. So people were attacking the followers of the party headed by Sheikh Hasina. So when you say minority community being attacked, so that minority community, particularly Hindu community, was associated with her. So you cannot distinguish whether they were attacked because they're followers of Sheikh Hasina or they were attacked because they're Hindu. But they were attacked, that's for sure. So this is the time, that few days that happened. But then we took over the government and tried to bring peace. We may have differences of opinions. That doesn't mean we have to attack each other.
Do you think that you can redirect people to focus on reform rather than revenge? Do you think that message is taking hold?
Yeah, revenge period was only a couple of weeks maybe. But then normalcy started coming back, so we are running the country. But there are demonstrations, not revenge, demonstrations. Most of the demonstrations about demanding their pay rises, demanding their jobs, which they were fired before by the regime. So they said we are mistreated by the past government. We lost our jobs for nothing because we happen to belong to another political party. So everybody's trying to get settle their scores because they were deprived. So they said, we were trying to convince them, look, this is 15 years of your grievances. We cannot solve it in 15 days. Give us some time so that we can go back. You have a very difficult situation, and we have to resolve it so that it's done systematically.
Well, speaking of time, the army is behind you, and the army has said, military leaders have said the interim government should rule for 18 months. That's not what the opposition parties wanted. They wanted elections in November. Is 18 months enough time to do what you need to do?
People are throwing out these numbers, how many months, how many years, as they feel needed. Some say, it should be done quickly, because if you go longer and longer, you'll be so unpopular, everything will be messed up. So you do it fast. Some say, no, you have to finish that reform. So you stay this long period, because we don't want to get back to Bangladesh 2.0 without fixing everything. So this is the debate going on.
It's almost like you're talking about like an entire rebuilding of civil society. I mean, it's kind of what it sounds like.
That's precisely what version 2 means. We don't want to go back to the old style. Then what is the meaning of giving all these lives? It has no meaning. Because everything that we did, we destroyed everything. So we have to begin to build a new one.
It's challenging, but it also is exciting, isn't it?
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
You look at the negative, I look at it very positive.
Yeah.
I said, this is the greatest opportunity this nation got. Never, ever. All these people in the country is unified on one thing. We need change.
So before we let you go, you're 84.
Yes.
And I don't know if that you ever saw yourself, you said you didn't as a head of government, as a head of state.
Yeah.
Do you think that you will see Bangladesh become the country that you hope it will be in your lifetime?
Not the ultimate, but I'll be very happy it's on the way. Institutions are right. Policies are right. Young people are dreaming. Young people are committed to change the world that they belong to. And they play a role within the country and a global role. When we talk about climate change, we are the victims of climate change. But we have to work together. I always gave importance to the youth, because they are the one who will be building the future. Their imagination, their dreams will materialize, and they should be in the leadership position anyway, because this is the planet they have to inherit. And ours, you mentioned I'm 84. I don't have a long path ahead of me, but they have the whole life ahead of them.
Well, you have a lot of work ahead of you, and we thank you so much for making
thank
the
you.
time to
Thank
see
you.
us. Muhammad Yunus, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you. I'm very happy that you asked me those questions. Thank you.